Morbin time's over, ladies and gentlemen. The Adaming is happening. Hey there guys, my name is Tom. Welcome back to my movie channel and thank you very much for joining me for this, my review of the movie that's going to change the hierarchy of power in the DCEU. We're talking about Black Adam, just in case that wasn't clear. If you guys haven't been here before, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell so you never miss out on my take on all things movies. So, Black Adam is the newest DCEU installment directed by Jaime Michaelek Serra and starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson, as well as Pierce Brosnan, Aldous Hodge, and a couple other people. Okay, so, Black Adam. There's been a lot of talk about this movie. You know, the trailers for this film were not great. They were very basic trailers. They didn't do a lot to get anyone really that excited about the film. But it is starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who is one of my favorite movie stars right now. And as far as I'm concerned, put The Rock in anything, it makes it 25% better, if not more. And I really like the work of this director. He did Unknown with Liam Neeson, a movie I really enjoyed. And then most recently, he also directed Jungle Cruise with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, which was a movie I found absolutely delightful. And I loved that movie. I thought that movie was fan-freaking-tastic. And so to see him take on a big superhero property was very exciting to me. And so I saw Black Adam this morning. What did I think of Black Adam? Black Adam is a movie that I feel very neutral on, very middle of the road. Now, in a straight thumbs up or thumbs down world, I'd give Black Adam a thumbs up. I enjoyed the film. I had a good time watching this movie. And so I definitely liked the movie. The thing with the film, though, is that it doesn't really do anything different or unique on a bigger scale to really set itself apart from other standard comic book movies. This is a very standard comic book movie, like straight up and down. It's very simple. It's not an overly complex film. The plot is very thin, and The Rock plays a giant superhero who can kill people, and that's what it is. And then you have the Justice Society who are trying to stop Black Adam. Amanda Waller's in the mix. There's a lot of CGI fights going on. So it's a very standard comic book movie. You know, it doesn't do anything to further the genre. It doesn't transcend the genre or anything like that. And honestly, every once in a while, a movie like this, where it's just straight up and down, balls to the wall action, very simple premise, very likable characters, that's all we can ask for, really. So I don't say that to bag on the film. I say that as sort of a positive, but if you were looking for Black Adam to do something unique or different with the superhero comic book genre, it's not really going to do that. Not majorly. It does a couple of things here and there that are unique to this movie specifically, but for the overall genre, nothing really too different and crazy. So first of all, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is Black Adam. That's obvious. Like, the dude is a walking superhero without the costume on. Like, just look at that dude. And he is such an imposing presence in the film, and I like him in this movie as well. He's very good in the movie. He's very, like, you know, very... I would have liked to have seen The Rock, you know, be a bit more of The Rock, a little bit more of that charm and charisma, but that's not really who Black Adam is, although in moments you do see a little bit of that, but he's very black and white in this film. He's very straight up and down, very, you know, monotone the way he talks, and that's cool. But I honestly think, and The Rock's great in this movie, I'm not taking away from that at all. I think the standout of the movie is the introduction of the Justice Society, because Aldous Hodge as Hawkman is freaking awesome in this film. Like, Hawkman in this movie is awesome, and he kicks ass, and I love that character. And I would see a movie just of the Justice Society, or just of Hawkman in particular. I love that guy in this movie. He's so cool. And then you have, like, Pierce Brosnan playing Dr. Fate, and that guy... Like, Pierce Brosnan's amazing. We all know that. But this character of Dr. Fate with Pierce Brosnan playing him, like, he's another standout of this movie completely. Like, those two really stole the show for me in this film. Quintessa and Noah Centineo playing the other two members of the Justice Society, I could take or leave. Like, I wasn't big on the Atom Smasher character in this film. Wasn't really big on it. Didn't hate it, but wasn't really big on it. I don't think he really added much to the movie. And there are a couple of comedic moments that he has, especially with Hawkman in this film, that are quite funny. But other than that, wasn't really impressed with that character. Honestly, it's a little bit annoying for me personally. But this film does have a lot of solid action, which is what the movie promised. It promised a big action spectacle movie. And that's what this movie delivers on the most, is lots of big, bombastic action. You know, lots of cheesy one-liners from The Rock and from other characters. Like, it almost feels like a bit of a 90s throwback kind of superhero movie where it's like you get the cheesy one-liners, the basic premise, but lots of big action and lots of CGI fights. And honestly, for a movie that is filled with CGI fights, I thought the CGI was pretty good, especially on characters like Hawkman and Dr. Fate. When you get to the big bad at the end, like, there's some wonky motion capture CGI stuff happening, but like, it's neither here nor there. But I do have a few issues with this film. Like, nothing massive, but just a few issues here and there. And those issues really come down to, there's a lot of, I feel like, unnecessary exposition in this film. Like, we get a lot of scenes of characters just explaining history of the country that they're in and where they, what's happened to them, and there's a lot of that happening, and feels like every scene or so we have another history lesson, if you will, another exposition dump of 5,000 years ago this happened and that happened and that happened. And that's probably the most annoying part about the film, is they kept going back to that, and it felt like we were seeing it felt very repetitive. And it really didn't. It just sort of felt like it was sort of slowing the movie down. And, we weren't focusing on The Rock. Anything with The Rock or the Justice Society kicking ass, great. Any of the flashback stuff, I could honestly take or leave it. I get they had to kind of show some backstory, but they did it too often, I feel. The other thing with this film that sort of annoyed me was that Black Adam wakes up after 5,000 years in slumber. And you've seen that in the trailers, right? He's been asleep for 5,000 years, and he gets awoken by something that happens in the film. Now, the whole man out of time thing, Black Adam is a man out of time by 5,000 years. There's not a lot of fish out of water thing happening in this film. It's sort of like he wakes up, he's a little confused about what's happening, and then he goes on and he kills people. I would have liked to have seen a bit more of him discovering what this new world looks like. And he even says in the movie, this isn't the world I knew. And it's like, well, yeah, but they didn't really show him discovering things or learning about technology. Like, there are just things like that would have, I feel like, added to the character of Black Adam and given us a bit more of that character. Instead, they just sort of skip over it. And I don't mean that I need, 45 minutes on that, but here or there, moments like that sprinkled throughout the movie, I think would have added a bit more dimension to the film, a bit more depth to it as well. And the other thing too is the Justice Society, as awesome as they are, and we know Amanda Waller is in this movie, and because she was in the trailers, and as awesome as she is, the question of, what I was looking for in this film, well, where had they been all this time? And I get it's in a shared cinematic universe, not every character can pop into every movie and blah, 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 blah. But just in a single line of dialogue or two, and there were opportunities for this in the movie, in certain scenes, for them to, in just a line or two of dialogue, explain, well, where have they been all this time? What have they been doing? What, where have they been when these events have been going on? And it just needed a single line or two of dialogue, I think, to really explain that, or to just give a little bit of context as to where they've been, because they just sort of show up and it's like, well, they're the Justice Society and people know who they are and they've been here the entire time. And it's like, well, okay, well, where were you when Steppenwolf was invading Earth? So just in a line of dialogue or two, they could have really cleared that up, but they chose not to. And the other thing too was, Amanda Waller is in this movie, but they really don't give, like, what's her connection to them? How did they, meet up? Like, and her association with the Suicide Squad program versus her with the JSA. It's like, well, why are you sending the Suicide Squad on missions if you've got the JSA and you've had them the entire time? So there are questions like that that are not answered. And look, it's not a big deal, but it's a question that I had, and I thought, they could have done more with that, because, as I said, there are a lot of times in this movie where they explain stuff that I feel like was unnecessary. And so, and you could have removed that to answer questions that I feel were necessary, not just for this movie and the story of this film, but for the general world building of the DC universe, I think it would have helped a great deal. So overall, in a straight up thumbs up or thumbs down world, I enjoyed Black Adam. I enjoyed the action. A lot of the humor really worked for me. A lot of the secondary characters really worked for me. I enjoyed the Justice Society, Amanda Waller, like all that stuff. I enjoyed all of that, but I do have some issues with it here or there. But in a straight up thumbs up or thumbs down world, I enjoyed Black Adam. I had a good time. Is this a movie I would say rush out and see it immediately? Probably not. But it's an enjoyable experience. It's an enjoyable film. I had fun with it. I feel like at the very minimum, it delivered on what the trailers promised, which was a fun superhero movie starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson. That's what this film is. The post-credit scene, or the mid-credit scene. I'm not going to talk about what happens in it, even though it's leaked online and The Rock has been out there basically telling the world what it is. Is it awesome? Yes, it is. That's all I'm going to say. I love the post-credit scene. I love what it represents. I love what it means for the future of the DCEU. Very, very excited about that. But it is a short scene. It's a couple of lines of dialogue, and it sets up things that may or may not happen in the future. So anyway, guys, that is my review of Black Adam. Have you guys seen Black Adam? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought about it, make sure you jump down in that comment section below and let me know what your thoughts are on the hierarchy of power in the DCEU. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell so you never miss out on my take on all things movies. My name is Tom, and I will see you guys next time.